And then now we are ready for day 3 of our writing workshop. And here she will be talking about how she finishes up her body paragraph and then how that leads into the conclusion of her story.
Hey, boys and girls, we are back for day 3 of our ACT writing workshop on our personal reflective narrative. We are cruising through, and we've done our intro so far. We've done our body paragraph 1, and we've done body paragraph 2, and we landed yesterday right here was my body paragraph 2 where we left off. Hopefully you guys are having a great time writing your papers and you're ready to do a wrap up today with body paragraph 3 and our conclusion. So let's take a look at what we're doing today for body paragraph 3. Now remember when I left off, we had my sister helping me through tryouts. All the things she did to help me get ready were listed in paragraph 2. And at the end of that paragraph, it says she declared I was ready for tryout day. So now let's look at I'm going to put it in present mode, and let's look at body paragraph 3 at this next part of my paper. All right, so here's where I pick up. Much to my surprise, I made the squad. I was one of 8 girls chosen. I was shocked and elated. Pam and I celebrated together after the exciting news was revealed. I always knew you could do it, my sister said, as we hugged and screamed like banshees. Because my sister forced me to work hard and help me practice, I accomplished a goal that changed my life. I became a part of a team, and a dream of mine came true. I couldn't have made the squad without Pam. Not only did she believe in me, but she worked hard alongside me to help make my dream come true. Now let's look at when I want to color code this, let's kind of look at those 4 pieces that we've been talking about all week. We've been looking at the pink, the yellow, the blue, and the green. And hopefully what you see right away here is that you're going to notice the blue. We have not had blue in our paragraph so far, but you're going to see a lot of it today in our body paragraph 3 and body paragraph 4. Now let's look at the pink, because the pink is how we got our paper organized. You're going to see I started with a phrase, much to my surprise. You're going to see the words after. You're going to see not only, and all those things are kind of transitioning through my paragraph as signal words. It just makes your paper flow in a nice way. Anytime we have a phrase like this, much to my surprise, we're going to have a comma here. And the rest of those are kind of part of my phrase. You can see this one, not only did she believe in me, comma, but so you're going to see some punctuation there. Now let's look at the yellow, because we are really trying hard to get that precise language in our paper. That's where we talk about our good word choices, not using words like nice or good, and when we can use more exciting words, and we're looking at figurative language and adjectives. So you're going to see some yellow on here. I say I was one of 8 girls. I got specific on how many there are. 8 is an adjective. Number words are adjectives. I have, instead of just news, I put exciting news. I have figurative language here like banshees. That's we were hugging and screaming like crazy. And so I decided to put in some figurative language right here. And that's what I chose for my figurative language. Again, that's what we talk about when you're scoring for ACT. Anything you can do to put money in your bank for scoring or to increase your point possibilities, go ahead and do it. This is how you get that score as high as possible. I have a lot of green in this paragraph. You're going to see a lot of things are happening still in this story. I made the squad. Pam and I celebrated together. We hugged and screamed. I became part of a team. A dream of mine came true. And she worked hard alongside me. All those are action words, action pieces of my paragraph that are telling my story. Let's look at the blue. This is our first paragraph to really see the blue. Now remember, the blue is one of the most important parts of your paper. It's because that's showing that you are reflecting on how this event changed your life. What kind of impact did this make on me as a person? And you're going to start seeing some things happening in my paper that are how this event, either how it made me feel or how it shaped my life. Here, this tells you exactly how I felt in that moment. I was shocked and elated. And because that is reflecting on how I felt, that would be part of my blue there. Here's another big piece. Because my sister forced me to work hard and help me practice, I accomplished a goal that changed my life. That's reflection, because I'm realizing it only happened because I worked hard and I practiced. So I'm having to think about that as how that changed me, and that makes that blue, that makes that a reflection. And then here's another thing I realized when I thought back on this event: I couldn't have made the squad without Pam. That is reflection, so it's blue. You need to be thinking about how would your life be different if that person had not impacted you. And I can tell you for sure, without her help, I would not have made the cheerleading squad that year. So that's why that's blue for me. So let's move on. That's the third body paragraph for me. And that's basically where we come to the end of my story. And now we're going to do actually the conclusion. This is where we're going to wrap up the whole paper. We are looking at a word count goal of at least 500. You're going to see that every paragraph I've written for this paper has at least 100 words in each paragraph. Mine have gone over. I think my total word count ends up being almost 600 words for this paper. So we are having that as part of our focus as well, because we're trying to stretch ourselves as writers and write papers with enough detail that we have a lot of words in our paper. It's not just about words, it's about choosing good words and strong words, but it is about making your story long enough that you can have a nice beginning, a nice middle, and a nice end to your story. Now, for the conclusion, your conclusion is your wrap up of your paper. And this is going to also have a lot of that reflection in it. And it also is going to have some details, some organization, and some language. So let's look at how this comes together for me right here. In conclusion, the experience of making the cheerleading squad taught me the value of hard work. It's a lesson I use even now as a grown up. If something is important to you, work hard to try to make it happen. I've applied this lesson in running, cooking, and teaching. It also taught my sister and me that we accomplished a lot more together than we would fighting. We have been best friends and each other's biggest supporters since that time I was in 7th grade. Pam is one of the most important people in my life. My victories are sweeter because of her support. It's nice to know she is there for me, rooting for me, and reminding me that hard work always pays off in the end. And that's the end of my paper comes to a complete ending there. And I want to take a minute to look at this conclusion through our lens of the 4 colors. You're going to see a lot of blue right away when you glance at this. That's because your conclusion is going to have a lot of reflection in it. This is the part of your paper where you're really asking yourself, how did that person and that event that I experienced with that person change my life? Or how would my life be different if that event had never happened? That's what I want you asking yourself as you're moving through your conclusion. And if you're answering those questions, you are going to have a lot of reflection in your paper. You're going to notice, before I look at the blue, let's look at the pink. I have in conclusion. That's a really easy way to start a conclusion, as we know. You can do a little bit, I don't know if you want to say fancy, but maybe a fancier way. You could say something like, as you now know, or some other phrases that would be conclusion. But this one is super simple. And if you want to use that one, you can. Another kind of time order piece for me is, since that time I was in 7th grade. That's a signal of time in my paper. And so I colored that pink right there. And I have a little bit of green. I've applied this lesson in running, cooking, and teaching. That's a specific place that I have used this lesson. And then now let's look at all the blue. So this is telling you what I learned and how my life would be different if this had not happened. And here's what I put. The experience of making the cheerleading squad taught me the value of hard work. It's a lesson I use even now as a grown up. If something is important to you, work hard to try to make it happen. It also taught my sister and me that we accomplished a lot more together than we would fighting. Something kind of interesting about this story that I didn't expand on because my paper's long enough. But my sister and I told you at the beginning of the paper, we fought a lot when we were younger. We had a lot of loud fights, screaming fights. We would do all the things that you probably do with your brother and sister that drive each other crazy. But what happened at this point in our relationship is we realized what happened when we came together as a team and we stopped fighting. And we actually had a lot of fun together, and it was kind of a surprise to both of us. So from here on, my sister and I really became best friends at that point, and we still are best friends even today as grown-ups. And so that really has been an impactful experience for both her and for me, because we became friends instead of fighting all the time. And then I also have as a reflection here, my victories are sweeter because of her support. So I did want to touch on that in this conclusion. And that's the reflection. That's how my life was changed because of this event. And so be thinking about how you can tell that part of your story in a meaningful way, as far as how your life.
Now, you guys, this piece right here is different than just a regular narrative. This essay that you're writing for the ACT has to have the reflection piece. So, in the conclusion, you have to have this blue where you reflect on, and as Miss Lawrence said, you think about how this event impacted you, how it changed your life, how your life would be different if it had not happened. So make sure that you're not writing just a general conclusion, but that in your conclusion you are really reflecting on the event and how it changed your life. I also want to remind you that you all are going to be writing a different prompt because you have already done this one about that important person in your life. So you will have a different prompt, but hopefully this helps you to see all of the things that you need inside of your essay.